So, say actually yesterday I come from town and we see it. And boy, I don't know I'm to the people them, brother, because there was a red Shackman truck right I got enter. The truck have about probably about 10 feet to enter the toll booth. When me look is a red SUV under the whole eye back eye, the front eye, the bonnet mash up. Like you run up underneath the truck. So me I say what kind of speed somebody has speed this and the truck I go through the toll booth. More likely me I say boy probably a truck reverse panic car. For you look up in that this the person after your gaze. You understand? So shortly after we move off, cause we are look on that, I go through. Shortly after we move off, me see a crowd of vehicle down the line there, and when we reach down there at the van, we see a silver IS bus down in the ditch. And all the doctors say, see no skid mark, him say probably is a green plate. So if a green plate, I know so good tonight to speed where I come with. See no tire mark on the road like him will no break. Brother, me I tell you, say, when me see it, me I say, John, we hope nobody in the door type, but to your records, you can see, say, somebody have the daughter that was sitting tear up, yo, that. When me look, me see a man sit down and lean up against my iron, the brother. As me say, bus name stop, but basically when we look on the damage, it's like the bus where tire blow out different from the impact of the guardrail them. So the tire blow up about 100 feet. Then when he met the impact of the guardrail, they supposed to lick one next 100 feet before it got tapped in the ditch. When me see it, me I say, no man, somebody have to dead out of that. You understand, brother, right now, based on what me see. I just plain me support me believe say supposed to speed. Nothing pan ground ya brother because plane now nothing for blow out. You don't know your settings how you go already. You understand me? Yeah man, them have to take time drive me down, me not lie to you. I mean I get to see the news.
Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, news and entertainment with a buzz. First thing that is popping in the news is that deadly accident that took place on Highway 2000, think the PJ Patterson Highway, the west leg coming to Kingston. So coming from country, coming to Kingston. Based on the information, confirmation, at least 5 people dead, 9 or so, including a 2-year-old badly injured. Couple of them in a critical condition. That means that the death toll might go up more than likely, or some people are definitely going to be paraplegic, meaning say them not gonna be able to walk, them spine, everything damaged. Saw a lot of videos with persons in some unnatural position. Those persons more than likely will never, ever, ever walk. If anything, they might even end up in a vegetative state, not only paralyzed based on the impact of their injuries. Now, people, before, because of YouTube's policy, I obviously cannot show you this. And thanks to all the people that sent me the videos, have always sent me videos. It is greatly appreciated. If you want these videos, you can WhatsApp me 1-876-894-2711. Say you want the videos of the crash, give your name, and say you want to join the group. Do not call me, and even worse, don't video call me. So people, I am going to let the vice chairman of the road safety, his name is Dr. Lucian Jones, let him explain to you exactly what took place, and then I am going to speak about this incident, this accident. Take a listen, take a look.
Signs of disaster on the soft shoulder and grasslands of Highway 2000. A mangled vehicle bearing the route Mandeville to Kingston, scattered pieces of parts, and people laying flat, some writhing in pain, others motionless. Minutes after 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, disaster struck. The highest minibus the people were traveling in careened from the highway and flipped several times before coming to a stop.
I was in my yard when my son said to me, Mommy, you know, so me hear one accident going on the highway. Me hear some mother and child dead. When we come out here a while ago, I see police and stuff. One man was on the ground, and they say the driver, and him then see them pronouns on the ground. But me hear that other rest of people rush to the hospital.
5 persons have died. and that 9 persons were taken to the Spanish Town Hospital. A few of them critically injured, others not so badly injured. 3 men have died and 2 females. And one of the injured is a 2-year-old child.
The driver of the minibus reportedly lost control of the vehicle after the right rear tire of the unit blew out in the vicinity of Sharper Lane.
The report says that a tire blew out. The question is whether or not the vehicle was traveling high speeds is to be the subject of investigation. And the minivan hit against a guardrail and flipped several times. And that's why we had so many injuries. So this is a terrible crash that is going to cause the nation to mourn even more now in the midst of Melissa. Coming at a time when for a number of days we had no fatalities reported by the police. So this is a sudden jolt and a reminder to all of us that we need to drive on the roads with extreme care and to slow down and to make sure that the vehicles in which we are driving and the drivers who are driving these vehicles ensure that we have safe vehicles, to ensure that people are buckled up, and to ensure that there's no speeding on our roads, because all of these things can cause crashes.
So people, you heard what the vice chairman of the National Road Council, Mr. Lucian Jones, had to say. And you also heard what residents close to the scene of the accident had to say. When them rush out, peer people lay down on the ground. All sorts of red run out of people, all sorts of mangled mess as it pertains to the IS bus. People just in some unnatural position, meaning that them look like a ragdoll on the ground. And foot it just looks as if somebody was flung out and then them roll a couple of times, bone, back, foot, and everything just broke up. People. Now, people, based on what we are hearing, it is said that the tire of the minibus blew out. Here's the thing. They're always going to use that excuse. Yes, if you're going at a high rate of speed and people, I am not saying that the bus tire could not have blown out. However, if you're blazing and you lose control and you lick something, more than likely that tire is going to lick on the curb, lick on the rail, lick on something, so it is going to automatically bust, especially if it is flipping over at a high rate of speed. The truth and the fact is that if you're driving public passenger vehicle, you have to make sure that that car is in good running condition, meaning that the brakes, the shocks, the tires are good. You can't have any sort of dry rotten tire upon your bus, especially if you're carrying passengers, especially in cases like this, and then you decide that you're going to make the situation even worse by blazing like a mad bat out of hell. So when it is all said and done, one mother gone, our little picnic injured, that little child is probably in a critical condition, bad condition right now. 3 men, 2 women, and then 9 or so other persons that are also badly injured. Based on the videos that I have, and I cannot show it because of YouTube's policy, most of these people, even the ones that make it, are even the least affected or the least injured. That person was in pretty bad condition. That person was moaning and groaning on the ground. And what I noticed also is that the absence of ambulance. Now, people, you have a big crash like that, and there's no sort of ambulance, no sort of emergency vehicle. Police was there, yes. Undercover was there, yes. Purses were there, yes. However, they don't have the vans, they don't have the ambulance to carry the people to treat them before they get to the hospital. They don't have the proper thing to take out the people off of the ground to make sure that their spine and their neck and everything is stabilized, so that people just hold them by foot and neck and rate. So even if they were not paralyzed at the time, more than likely by the time that they get to the hospital, especially when it takes so long. And credit, persons were actually out there giving assistance, taking these persons to the hospital. So therefore, kudos to these people. At the end of the day, like I've always said, don't start no ish, won't be no ish. Just follow the road code, follow the speed limits, have your vehicle in a proper driving condition, brakes, stop blazing like some mad bat out of hell. Now, people, I'm going to say something and it is going to sound very controversial. If that driver did not indeed blow a tire and that was what caused him to lose control, based on what the experts are saying, he was definitely speeding. It is good to know that if somebody had to lose their life, it should be the person that is responsible for causing this accident and causing other persons to lose their life. So therefore, if you take it upon yourself to jump in one of these motor vehicles, make sure that the person that is driving you is responsible, not a hothead, not a mad bat out of hell driver. A lot of times people just sit down in these vans, sit down in these taxis and don't say anything. The life that you save might be your own. In this case, at least 5%, maybe even more, is going to live or die to regret the decision of driving with a maniac. Point blank and period.
As quickly as possible. But I think we have to do it very prudently and sensibly so that we don't unnecessarily expose taxpayers to loss.
This government is prepared on behalf of the people of Jamaica to release the $150 million in whatever tranches are required as quickly as possible to get the restoration going. And that's the difference between a caring government and somebody who has a financial background.
You don't need to personalize your response. You don't need to get hot under the collar. It's a legitimate question I'm asking. And I'm just, so don't bother about having a financial background. I want to know a simple question. Are you going to ensure the funding is in place?
The member is saying that his position is that he would not release the $150 million unless he knew where the $200 million was coming from. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. Hansard is there.
Members,
You are a wicked and evil. Bad mind don't go on yet from September 3rd.
members,
Wicked and evil. We will work with JPS in whichever way, shape, or form that is required if it means that we are to benefit the people of Jamaica in the shortest possible time. All options are open for discussion. I made a miscalculation, and overnight I was able to get it corrected. There's an application, Brother Desmond, at the OUR for the last $50 million in the emergency fund. So the figure is no longer 200 million. Overnight, it's $150 million, making it that much easier. So I had a discussion with the OUR this morning. The documentation is in front of them, and based on all that has happened, I don't see how an approval will not be given for the disbursement of that $50 million.
So the next thing that is popping in the news, based off the video that you just saw, is a tit for tat that went on in a parliament, sitting of parliament between the JLP and PNP, the leader of the opposition, and Mr. Vaz, energy minister. So pretty much, I guess a meeting was held and they came to the assessment that JPS, Jamaica Public Service, would need $350 million to complete the restoration, light pole, transformer, rate, lele, blah, blah, blah. The government of Jamaica, being the JLP, decided that they were going to loan them $150 million out of the $350 million total that they would have needed to restore electricity at the earliest convenience. So the opposition simply asked a question. When you give them this $150 million, do you know for sure that they have the remaining $200 million? And people, you heard the response of the energy minister, Mr. Vaz. He was making it seem as if it is something political. Now, if you are the leader and you are the opposition, you guys are supposed to be able to sit down in a parliament and reason this out and make sure that everything is done in the best interest of the nation. Did not see anything political by the question that was asked. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I have too much objectivity, too much common sense. However, the response that he got is one of a bad man, one of the PNP opposition being evil. Opposition don't want to see people get back them electricity. I don't know if people understand that the reason it is called opposition, meaning that you oppose. If there's anything that you see and you do not totally agree with, then you hold a common sense, sensible conversation. It has nothing to do with bad mind. However, when you talk about Darrell Vaz, he is one of those average, arrogant, incompetent people. It is okay to be arrogant or self-confident. However, you have to make sure that the job that you're doing is good, A-OK. When it comes to Darrell Vaz, we know that everything that he touched, let's just say it is not the Midas touch. Talking about these school buses that him pretty much buy some all bus. People say it's a good thing. Yes, the kids needed bus, and yes, the kids them get bus. However, it was not bang for the buck, if you have common sense. So in this case now, he mentions say, a bad mind and bad mind are carry over from September 3rd, which would be the election, and the fact that the JLP won and the PNP lost. This is why this conversation, well, all the while, you did not hear the opposition saying anything like, them a bad mind. They just simply ask a question. And he got in his feeling because he knows Mark is more educated than him, know more about finance. And if you are the opposition leader and that is your expertise, then you're the one that is supposed to talk and you're the one that is supposed to be asking these questions. Now, people, at the end of the day, everybody wants Jamaica to have electricity. Everybody wants Jamaicans to come out of the situation that they're in. However, there's a sensible way of doing things. There's a way in which persons, meaning opposition and the leaders, come together and then find, say, all right, we're going to give them this, but we want to make sure so them have the balance at the 200,000. Here, Mr. Vaz said them find 50 more in some insurance policy. So therefore, JPS now needs $150 million out of that. $350 million. So therefore, with the loan and the excess 50 million, that is 200 out of 350. So therefore, 150 million left. Now, people, as a Jamaican, as a sensible person, as somebody that sees what is going on, people have to stand up. People have to ask questions. Because the facts are these. If you ask most person about their impression or opinion on JPS, they're not really satisfied. They've not been satisfied for a couple of decades now. I myself told you a story in which them jack up your bill. You're there at Jamaica one time, you use AC, rate, and then the next time you leave, even after you leave, the bill is even higher. So therefore, nobody, the bill jump 400%, 300% more than what it usually was. And you have smart meter, so therefore they've been stealing. I have witnessed this firsthand. Went there and launched a complaint. All now I can't see nobody come to do any sort of investigation. But the fact is that no investigation is needed because you have a smart meter where you can stay in the JPS office and see everything, the amount of energy that is used. However, them still estimate even though them have smart meter so that they can check. However, when they send you a bill, it is in their best interest. Them just go by the trend of last month. So therefore, no sorts of accountability. So therefore, if a company like that you know is a thief, and that the government themselves say that more than likely they are not going to renew their license in 2027 when it expires, meaning that they have question sign. So therefore, the question that the PNP asks is a valid question. Are you sure that they have the 150 or $200 million that they need to be a part or make the completion of this restoration of the JPS service? However, these ministers are able to do this because the people have low expectation. The people facilitate the FUCKRY. At the end of the day, persons have problem with persons saying the truth, and I'm going to say this once again. The truth is a very uncomfortable environment for liars, and liars are always crooks and corrupted. So therefore, when them see somebody like myself come out and is looking out for the best interest of Jamaica and asking questions like the opposition is supposed to ask, people getting at them feelings. At the end of the day, remember, the person that you're supposed to be looking out for is your family, meaning your kids, your future, your kids' future, to make sure that they live in a place such as Jamaica where everything is done right. So therefore, we won't have a whole bunch of criminals. We won't have a whole bunch of corruption. So therefore, if the people that are at the top of the head of the stream are corrupt, it is only going to trickle down. That is why you're going to find that there is going to be a whole bunch of poverty, because a country such as Jamaica, with so much natural resources that is supposed to be rich, is poor and broke and is a third world country. And it is because of bad management, both JLP or PNP. And like I said, I am going to make it clear one more time, my disclaimer. I am no PNP, I am no JLP. I would rather vote for a random vote, as controversial and dunce as it sounds. I just don't see any of these two parties doing anything good for Jamaica in the history of politics, and I am going to always say that. So therefore, if the PNP is in power and they are screwing up, I am going to speak. If the JLP are in power and they are screwing up and they are not making conscious decision, I am going to always speak. So the moral of the story is this: as a responsible human being, man or woman, your responsibility is towards your children, the future of Jamaica. You cannot be spineless. You cannot have no backbone. You cannot have no sorts of fortitude inside you, wherein you are a stand-up person standing up for rights. Not standing up for a political party, not idolizing politicians, putting them before the future of Jamaica and the future of your children. If that is the way you are and that is the way you pre-life, something is definitely wrong. The problem is not me. The problem is you. The problem is that you hate the truth. Point blank and period.